In a church in Ibadan, on a hot Sunday morning, the fans hummed louder than the choir's pre-service warm-up, and the scent of perfumes mingled with sweat from the humid weather. Members began arriving in twos and threes in their beautiful church attires as they entered the auditorium of the Kingdom Glory Ministries. That day, the Romans arrived at church before their lead pastor did. It slipped through the pews like a restless spirit. There were hushed conversations as the cleaners cleaned the chair and whispers as the media set up the gadgets. They said he has something, a lady whispered, something he uses every morning before climbing the altar, a charm for increase. I doubt. A guy close by said, it doesn't seem like one who can hurt a fly. Hmm, I've been wondering too. I've only joined this church for 3 months, but our population has tripled already. The church has grown too fast. Now, there are many members whose name I don't even know. Too many miracles and testimonies every Sunday. This is so much expansion in such a little time. Another lady said, in Nigeria, rapid growth often attracts two things, admiration and suspicion. This was the reality of these members of the church. Pastor Korede Ademayo is the lead pastor of Kingdom Glory Ministry. He stood at the pastor's
Let
pew,
everything that has breath
clapping
praise the
and
Lord.
praising God,
Dance before the
completely
Lord with all your might.
oblivious of the rumors ravaging his congregation. He was unaware that a Sunday morning would try to swallow him whole. He was not a flamboyant man. He had no convoy of cars, no expensive outfits. He only carries a well-worn Bible, dressed moderately, had a steady
God will
baritone
not
voice,
share.
and a smile that reached his eyes. 5 years earlier, he had started ministry work with only 12 members in a rented classroom. But recently, the church has filled a modest auditorium with plans to build a bigger one across town. And that, apparently, was the problem. In the back row, Deacon Matthew sat, his arms folded tighter than usual. Beside him, Sister Titi leaned forward, her eyes sharp. I heard it from someone close, she whispered. They said he got it from Benin after he traveled there to bury his late wife. Matthew frowned.
Benin, are you sure?
Yes, now, don't you see how the church started booming since his wife's demise? They exchanged a look heavy with implication. At the far left aisle, a blogger named Femi adjusted his phone while on silent mode. He had not come to worship, but to observe. If rumors had been flying, then content is loading. You can even get one or two hints from the rumors flying around concerning the church and make some cool money from posting it. The choir finished a
Sing with
powerful
me.
rendition of Great is Thy Faithfulness. The congregation clapped and the keyboard faded. Pastor Korede stepped forward to the pulpit.
Today we talk about the truth.
He preached from the book of Acts about integrity in the early church. His voice rose and fell with conviction. Sweat dotted his temple. He spoke about how growth comes from the consistent prayer and service. He also spoke about the unseen labor and open divine reward. Then it happened.
My dear
It was
brethren, the
subtle at
path of
first,
righteousness is
a
clear.
small
We
shift in
must
his
stay
mouth.
the court and
His
not pray.
words were getting slurred intermittently, a slight lisp that wasn't there before. Then pauses between words. He cleared his throat and continued as he declared,
God will not share his glow.
something loosened, time slowed. A coral pink, flesh-like thing, like half his mouth, tilted. For one suspended second, it hung at the edge of dignity. Then it fell out onto the polished wooden pulpit, soft and distinct, a pale curved object under the fluorescent light. A gasp rippled through the auditorium. There was silence, not the holy kind, but the dangerous kind. Someone screamed, "Charm!" The word detonated like a grenade. A guy jumped out through the window immediately, out of fear. A lady had an asthmatic attack from the choir stand. People stood on edge, some scrambling for the door. Did you hear that? What is that? He removed it from his mouth. No, it jumped out. The brave ones argued with themselves. Femi's phone was already recording, zooming and refocusing. The object, still slightly moist, looked foreign enough to the untrained eye. To some, primed by suspicion, it was just a confirmation. Pastor Korede froze. In his 43 years of life, he had faced financial hardship, ridicule, lost his wife, and even a failed attempt at ministry. But he had never faced what just happened. His heart started pounding violently. He reached instinctively for the object. This was a wrong move. Because to the already suspicious congregation, it looked like he was retrieving a secret object. Don't you dare! Someone shouted from the auditorium. Pandemonium erupted again. Chairs scraped, people pushed themselves, trying to get out of the way. A pregnant woman fainted. Someone began praying loudly in tongues. Another shouted, "We have been deceived." Pastor Korede heart broke. He removed his mic slowly from his mouth. "This is my denture," he said quietly, trying not to reveal the half of his mouth with missing teeth. Half of his face had collapsed when the denture fell out. Now he looked way older than his age, but the assumptions were louder than his explanation. "Denture? Since when? I've never seen you without it before. This is spiritual." Matthew marched towards the altar. "Pastor, if it is just denture, then let us see it clearly." The request sounded reasonable, but the tone wasn't. It wasn't curiosity, it was accusation wrapped in betrayal. Pastor Korede lifted the acrylic denture with trembling hands. He held it up. "It is artificial teeth," he said. "I lost some of my teeth several years ago." Some members scoffed. Convenient story. Why didn't you tell us before? The pastor swallowed. He couldn't believe his ears. Yeah, losing his teeth before the age of 40 had embarrassed him, but he didn't think that his dental history required a congregational announcement because it wasn't anyone's business. But rumors, it feels on silence, and now the silence has sparked something bigger. From the back, Femi whispered into his phone. Breaking. Popular Ibadan minister Pastor Korede exposed as alleged charm user during live service. His charm fell out. Exposed. Reactions started pouring in. Then something unexpected happened. An elderly woman stood up. Mama Grace. He was 70-year-old, one of the members who had been there from the inception of the church. She was among the original 12 members. Her voice, though it was thin, it carried authority. "I was there," Mama Grace said. The noise reduced slightly. "I was there when this church started. We prayed on it and rain, insects biting us when we fellowship in the evenings. We fasted with empty stomachs. We used wooden benches we borrowed from neighbors to sit." She walked slowly towards the altar. "I was there when Pastor Korede couldn't afford treatment for his teeth. I drove him myself to the dental clinic to get his teeth replaced." Murmurs shifted. She turned to the crowd. "You call this charm?" She picked up the denture from the pastor's hand boldly. "If this is juju, then I have more juju than him." Gasps turned into confused laughter because Mama Grace removed her own denture from her upper and lower jaw. Her face fell into wrinkles and the face height shortened. She looked like she was 100 years old already. The congregation gasped at how fast her face changed when she removed it, then placed it beside Pastor Korede, two identical acts of human vulnerability. The tension cracked, but suspicion, it doesn't die easily. Matthew spoke again, softer now, but still stubborn. "Why then did the church grow suddenly?" Pastor Korede finally found his voice. "Because we worked. We all labored," he said. "Because we visited homes, we fed the needy and the widows. We made sure each member experienced love. We paid school fees and continued to teach the truth of the word of God. We showed up consistently for 5 years." He stepped down from the altar. "We have never poured oil or anything at midnight, nor done ritual under the altar. It was only hard work, genuine labor over God's people." His eyes glistened with tears now. But if you have already judged me, there is nothing I can say now that will change what you already believed. The room grew silent. People began sitting down. Some people entering the church from other churches after seeing the live update. The hysteria dissolved into embarrassment. Femi slowly lowered his phone. The story had shifted. Scandal was no longer guaranteed because it was just mere suspicion. But mere suspicion in this country trends faster at the actual evil. From the third row, a young woman who has been sitting unperturbed stood. I'm a dentist, she said cautiously. This is clearly a removable partial denture. It is used in replacing missing teeth after tooth loss, which could be from trauma, extraction, tumor removal, tooth infection, or even when missing from birth. The denture helps to restore good looks, improve speech, eating, and psychological well-being. Pastor Korede has done no wrong getting a denture, so he can keep doing his God-given assignment without being judged by you people. A nervous chuckle followed from the congregation. She added gently, and dentures can be dislodged if not well fitted in the mouth, and that was what just happened. Layer by layer, the meat unraveled, but the damage had already begun. By evening, Femi's 10-second clip had gone viral. It was conveniently cut before Mama Grace's defense, so the internet was still raging. Different reaction posts, captions flooded the social media platform. Pastor's charm falls during sermon. Another fake prophet exposed by God himself. We are not surprised. Pastor Korede sat down alone in his room that night. The denture rested in a small container half filled with water beside him. Such a small object now had a massive consequence. He whispered, God, is this where it ends? A text came in shortly. It was Dr. Kate. She checked on the pastor concerning the event that happened earlier and counseled him to go for a more permanent tooth replacement option, like getting an implant, because of his profession as someone who speaks publicly often. On Monday morning, reporters flooded the church premises, some almost stuffing the microphone into Pastor Korede's mouth. Tuesday came with skeptics. On Wednesday, more than half the congregation were absent from the midweek service. The growth Pastor Korede had once admired had now begun to dwindle. The donations reduced and plans for expansion paused because the rumors had refused to die. But something else happened too. Members who truly knew him began speaking up. Testimonies resurfaced, receipts of the church's charity project and photos from early struggling days also resurfaced. The full service video of that day was uploaded on YouTube by the media team. People saw Mama Grace. They also saw the dentist's explanation. They realized the panic was only human, it wasn't mystical. And slowly, their narrative shifted. 2 weeks later, Pastor Korede addressed the church again. This time, he began with a smile.
Today, I'll introduce my denture to you.
Laughter broke the tension. He held it up
This
confidently.
helps me eat amala and preach long sermons.
It is not a charm. He spoke without the denture, and the church could feel the difference. The congregation laughed louder. That day, their healing began, but the real lessons came quietly. Growth had not come from magic, nor had suspicion come from nowhere. In a society bruised by real scandals, people were already tired of deception, and sometimes the innocent pay for the guilty. Pastor Korede understood that now. Transparency would no longer be optional, so he began speaking more openly about his dental health struggles. This made mystery decrease while trust increased among his congregation. Months later, the attendance slowly climbed again. It was not as explosive as before, but it was more steady, bringing stronger and more rooted believers. And whenever new members asked about the charm incidents, older ones would chuckle. That wasn't juju, they would say. It was just a denture. On a quiet evening, Mama Grace sat beside Pastor Korede outside the church building after the church service. When everyone had departed,
You could have lost everything.
I know.
she smiled gently, but truth has a way of outliving noise. He looked at the modest auditorium glowing under the sunset light. The church had not grown because of secrets, it had grown because of service, and nearly fallen cause of mere suspicion. He touched his jaw again. Sometimes the smallest thing tells the strongest calling, like a dropped denture, a whispered rumor combined with a fragile reputation. In the end, what remained was not scandal, it was character, and good character, unlike charm, cannot be manufactured. It can only be lived. This story was brought to you by Unique Dental Stories. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video to your friends to create more awareness about dentures. Also, subscribe to this channel if you love what we do here, and would love to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.